going way, way down deep. We're 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 going way, we're going way, we're going way down deep. We're going way, way down deep. With all the brothers and the sisters going way down deep. We're going way, way down deep. And all the mothers and the fathers going way down deep. We're going way, 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 way down deep. And all the unity, we're going way down deep. We're going way, way down deep. It's all the unity, we're going way down deep. We're going way, 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 way down deep. All right, good morning.
Wow. Thank you, Gretchen, Peter Polzak, and the trio. Thank you so much. Got us rocking already. Woo! Well, good morning, and welcome to Unity in Chicago. I'm Fred Mahaffey, and it's a joy to see each and every one of you here this morning. So glad you decided to say yes to the call. It's good to see you. On your seat, you found, I hope you found, a small card. This wasn't in the script. I'm going off script here. But, for the last several weeks, we've been talking about enough and living life as if it were and knowing that it is enough. So there's an affirmation here, and I think this would be a great way to begin today's service, all right, to affirm this for ourselves. So if you don't mind, can we read this together? All right, did you find it? Yeah. Good. I have everything I need in life. My supply is limitless, and I continually accept gifts from the universe. And as Reverend Heidi would say, breathe into that. Breathe into that truth. Well, your presence is a very important part of our service today, and we're grateful to each of you for joining us. Each Sunday, we come together to celebrate our oneness with God and our oneness with one another. In Unity, we welcome people of every culture, every lifestyle, every creed. We honor the many paths to God, the many names for God, and the many ways in which we experience God. We give thanks for the presence of God within each of us and the expression of grace, love, and truth in our lives. Today we join with hundreds of thousands of people all around the world who are reading the Daily Word. And today the Daily Word is forgiveness. Forgiving others and myself restores my spiritual health. Breathe into that one. When a kitten has wandered away from its mother, she gently brings it back home. The mother does not have negative feelings toward the kitten, but stays focused on caring for its health and its safety. When my thoughts or actions wander away from love, I gently bring them back. Harboring negative thoughts and feelings about others hurts me more than it hurts them. Forgiving and releasing anything or anyone that may have harmed me frees me to focus on my spiritual health. In my prayer time, I surround any unhealed situation or transgressor in love and call for the power of forgiveness. I extend this forgiveness to myself, letting go of the past mistakes. I make amends where appropriate and release the situation to God. And from the 5th chapter of Matthew, verses 23 and 24, we read, "When you are offering your gift at the altar, first be reconciled to your brother or sister." Well, Reverend Heidi is at Hay House Weekend, a Hay House Weekend event today, but she wanted to stop in nonetheless, and I understand that technology has made that possible.
I am at a workshop in downtown Chicago, so I'm obviously not here today. And let's welcome Reverend Celeste and have a wonderful Sunday of knowing you're enough. I want to thank our new elected board members, Annette Gipp, Pam Parker, Joanne Finn, Diane Valletta, Ron Baxter, Craig Seeloff, and our 2 returning board members, Rosie Banks and Marilyn Jaffe. Thank you so much for saying yes and supporting and holding the high watch for our community of love, light, and laughter. I want to remind you all, this is the day to sign up for the Wayne Muller weekend. We've spent 6 weeks traveling through Wayne's book, A Life of Being, Having, and Doing Enough, and he's coming to Unity in Chicago from Santa Fe, New Mexico. And the weekend is called Enough is Enough, A Quick Path to Happiness by Slowing Down. And he's here on Friday night from 7 to 9, Saturday from 10 to 4, including lunch. Do sign up this weekend and be with the Master of Enough. Wayne has reduced his fee to come and be with us. We want at least 100 people to come, so be one of those 100 and support the church and support Wayne. Enjoy today, and remember that you know enough, you do enough, and you are enough. Namaste, namasko.
And I really just want to follow up on some of the things that Reverend Heidi said and remind you that coming together as a group for the experience with Wayne Muller is bound to be an exciting one. So that's this coming Friday and Saturday. Wayne guides us toward fierce clarity in making choices that feel authentic and honest, necessary and true in each moment. So you may remember that Friday night will be interactive. It begins at 7 o'clock, goes for an hour and a half. Wayne will also be doing a book signing, and there'll be a reception following that event. And then it's an all-day Saturday affair from 10 in the morning till 5 in the afternoon. Friday is $35, Saturday is $85. If you sign up for both of those events, you can save $10. So stop by the Wings of Prosperity and reserve your space, or you can go online. We continue to become more and more high-tech around here, and reserve your space there. And now it is my great pleasure to welcome back Bruce Henry to Unity in Chicago.
I'd like to do a Horace Silver song for you this morning, the legendary composer. And I think we're only the second group in the universe that's ever done this song. So, through many incarnations, the all is brought about. The message of the oneness we all must soon find out. Hari Rama, Hari Krishna, Allah and Buddha too, Jehovah and Jesus Christ, just to name a few. The final realization that everything is one will take a bit of doing, but yet it must be done. All is spirit, all is spirit. Spirit is all there is. No matter what form it takes, be it hers or his. All time is now, All space is here. All life is endless. All love is near. All minds relate. All souls evolve. All forms are changing. All thoughts resolve. All words take shape. All will directs. All deeds are binding. All faith protects. All ears are deaf. All eyes are blind. All things are spirit. All is in mind. The Father, Son, and Mother of all the universe is power, presence, and knowledge for which we all do search. Through the mind, through the body, shining right through the soul. The Spirit is there within us. It tries to make us whole. However long it may take me, wherever I may go, I must become the master of my body, my mind, and soul. All the persons, all the places, all the things I might see, the Spirit is there within me, yearning to be free. All time is now. All space is here. All life is endless. All love is near. All minds relate. All souls evolve. All forms are changing. All thoughts resolve. All words take shape. All will directs. All deeds are binding. And all faith protects. All ears are deaf, and all eyes are blind. All things are spirit, and all is in mind. All is in mind. Spirit, Spirit, love. Love supreme. Oh, the Creator has a master plan. Peace and happiness for every woman and every man. The Creator has but one demand. Peace and happiness all throughout the land. Spirit, 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 Spirit.
Mr. Bruce Henry. Thank you, Bruce. Stunning, stunning. I don't think we'll find that in the hymnal on page 234, but I can't think of a better place to share that. Thank you so much. Well, I know I'm glad, and you can be particularly glad that Reverend Celeste is here. Otherwise, you'd hear a message from me. So I'm really glad to see you, Reverend Celeste. She's a long-term friend of Unity in Chicago, so won't make it a long introduction, but thank you for your continued support and guidance for us here at Unity. Welcome back, Reverend Celeste Frazier.
Thank you, Fred. I think you'd probably be just fine because Bruce just delivered a sermon. I mean, really, because basically that's all we're talking about. We're talking about Spirit moving through us. And yes, you know, Reverend Heidi has us on this journey with Wayne Mueller about enough. And yet, we know this in our minds. Intellectually, we know that we are spirit, and then somehow we still manage to think that there's something more that I need. In this first slide, it says, all life has emptiness at its core. It is the quiet, hollow reed through which the wind of God blows and makes the music that is our life. You know, I was saying, well, you know, Bruce just did that when he basically made his whole body a reed and allowed Spirit to flow through him. This is what we're invited to do, to allow ourselves to receive the beautiful music that is playing in the universe, from the universe, as our very lives, and we are the perfect instruments by which it may be revealed. But you know, if we're busy, you know, doing that job, creating that project, you know, doing this service. I'm not saying don't do service at all. I'm not saying that. But if we are so busy creating more stuff to preoccupy our time, we are putting little pebbles in that reed, and we are blocking the flow of this Spirit to move through, in, and as our lives. And so I want to say to you, please stop. Please look and please listen, but don't simply look from the eyes that are perceiving in judgment. Don't simply look through the eyes of what has already been, but allow yourself to have new and fresh eyes. As we allow ourselves to see through the eyes of Spirit, then we can see more of the perfection of life that is inherent in everything and in everyone. And so as we move forward in this particular message today of the daily word, and you think about that whole concept of forgiveness, when we allow ourselves to think, wow, I can forgive myself for those choices that I made when I wasn't fully available to Spirit. This doesn't get to be another excuse for me beating up on myself and saying that I'm not enough. This is simply a course correction. And for any of you who may be familiar with Abraham, the teachings of Esther Hicks and Once Upon a Time with Jerry Hicks, you know, there's a conversation about the non-physical beings noticing what we're doing here and saying, wow, can you really appreciate the contrast of your lives? Can you really appreciate that which is yearning to come forth? It's not that you're not enough as you are, but this whole life journey is a process that we get to ride on. This whole life journey is a process of us deciding what we want to become. If we are feeling not so well in our body temple, we want to feel better. If there is someone in our experience who we do not feel is treating us well, we want to be treated better. If we are not treating others well, we want to be better. And this is part of the innate evolution of life itself. This is the evolutionary spiral of us awakening to our true self. This is our awakening to our authenticity. This is our opportunity to grasp that divine identity and ride that wave. And so as we move forward, we're thinking about this Wayne Mueller book and all the many different stories that we noticed along the way. I am particularly taken with that our daily bread aspect of this book, because we do receive everything that we need. You know, there is something that happens to us when we go through stress, and it's not relegated to just adults. You know, they ask the little kids, you know, what stresses you out? Well, you know, I can't get in the bathroom, and my brother is telling me what to do, and I can't find my toothbrush and all of these things, and they even include the wars, and they include the violence, and they're basically dealing with the same stresses that we are, because we don't keep our stresses to ourselves. We're too willing to share it. Oh, let me tell you what happened to me. Oh, God, this is the worst. Oh, did you see that? Oh, my God, that election. Oops, I said something political. Because we continue to have elections, but we don't always get our way. And that's okay. Because if we don't get our way, that means we get to activate that which is within us that wants to reveal itself as us. It doesn't mean that we have to become something that we are not, but we want to commit more to what we are. And so this is what we do when we make our choices, when we come into an awareness of what I'm discontent about and what will bring me more into that realm of contentment, and more importantly, what will align me with my joy. That's our journey. That's where we're going, and that's what we want to embrace as we move through this, and to know that everything that we need is already here. You know, there was a reference in the book about, you know, the manna that was discussed in the Hebrew Testament of the Hebrew Bible, that was talking about the people who were coming out of bondage and trying to move into freedom. And really, they were only just a few miles away. It was a matter of consciousness. And so in the process, there was an understanding that was relayed through their leadership. Wow, we are going to get manna. We're going to get manna for the day. And you mustn't try to hoard it. Not meaning to step on any hoarder's toes here. We're not meaning to hoard it because we know that there will be more tomorrow. But if we don't trust that there is enough for today, we will bring ourselves into those stressful conversations that we have internally that totally block that still small voice from being able to be heard. But when we know that there is that which is sufficient for the day, otherwise we're serving mammon. Otherwise we're serving ego. Otherwise we're serving that which thinks that it has to struggle to survive, that has to keep paddling upstream, and so that it can feel some sense of doing something and participating in that control aspect of ego that wants to keep us thinking that we are not enough and we have to fight so hard and so diligently and so insistently for our good to be here, when really we could just like be kicking it and having a margarita. Or if you don't drink, have some lavender, you know? And so in that, we have to understand that trust is key. You know, when I was facilitating my Course in Miracles teleconference that I do on Saturdays, somebody said, well, I guess that's about faith. I said, everything is about faith. You're either in fear or you're in faith. You know where you are when you're there. You know if you're not feeling confident that you must be in fear. You know if you are feeling that all is well, that you are definitely anchored in faith. And it's okay to move freely about the cabin of dancing with fear once in a while, as long as you don't stay in that groove. You know, if any of you are young enough to remember, there were records at one time and there would be this groove that would get stuck, and it would be very irritating and annoying, and the static would just like be maddening. And so we don't want to be in that madness state of mind. We want to be in our peace. This is our divine identity. And so we have the daily bread that is coming to us. And if we can stop trying to paddle upstream or do a dog paddle trying to make sure that our movement is making something happen, and just float on the river of life, these living waters will carry us. because it is happening day by day. The sun is still rising day by day. All things in nature are showing us the constancy of life. They're showing us the absolute perfection of this good that is ever available, lighting our lives and nourishing us with its light. And so we can understand that even if our children are not doing those things that we want them to be doing, that we don't have to try to manipulate them into doing something or punish them into doing something. You know, there's been a conversation in the religious science ministers listserv that's been talking about, you know, this whole idea of corporal punishment and, you know, how it's not necessary. And, you know, this other conversation, well, you don't know what these people have to deal with, these single mothers. And it's like, you know what? There have been single mothers for centuries that people haven't talked about. All of a sudden, it's a big deal, like, oh, it's so difficult. Well, anybody that has ever been a single mother knows that you just do what you do. And it doesn't mean that your fear has to dictate the punishment of your child. You don't have to punish the child for your own fear, but to simply trust that God has gifted you with that wonderful child and that it has everything within it that's necessary for its own fulfillment, because that's just how good God is. And if we can allow ourselves to have faith in that which has created this child, if we can allow ourselves to have faith in that which has created us, then we know that everything that we have is absolutely perfect for the nurturing and nourishment of this thing that has been put in our care, this beautiful life energy that has been put in our care. And we can trust that that same very genius is within that child. Otherwise, we wouldn't send them to youth church or to school or to any place where we were not present if we didn't think that they had the means by which they could be able to grasp the tools that they need for their further evolution and expansion. But we must believe that about ourselves first, I suppose. It's a matter of putting the mask on your face before the other. On the airplane, you want to make sure that you are breathing. You want to make sure that you are breathing so that your child can breathe. And so the way that you want to make sure that you are breathing is by trusting that the genius within you is enough for you to be able to navigate this thing that you call life. It was never meant to be a struggle. It was never meant to be a long 40-year journey. You know, the number 40 is used a lot in the Bible to talk about transformation. It doesn't have to be 40 years. It doesn't have to be 40 months. It doesn't have to be 40 hours. It doesn't have to be 40 minutes. It could be 40 seconds. Because the nature of the universe is that evolution that is ever evolving, and that means transformation is always happening. But if we are fighting against it, if we are convinced that this must be a struggle, then we are drowning ourselves in that sea of despair, and we are drowning ourselves in a shallow pool that is not even conscious of the depths of the possibilities of our lives. So I invite you to give yourself some space to create the boundaries in your lives so that you are able to give yourself that time to be still and know. And by creating these boundaries, we are able to allow that healing process. And in truth, there is nothing to be healed, only God to be revealed. Are some of you reading this book? So you must be familiar with some of the things that I'm talking about. And the woman that was so looking forward to Wayne coming, who was a breast cancer, who was experiencing breast cancer. And even when he showed up, everyone was saying, you know, I think, was her name Elaine? Elaine is going to see you today. And you know, everyone was greeting him, talking about Elaine as if, you know, this was the only person there, but it, for his purposes, needed to be the only person that was there because it was her who had the message for him. Because she spent all of this time talking about how wonderfully her life had turned around since she heard the words that he shared with her. And she had been so full of despair, and she had been hopeless, and she had totally thrown in the towel, and she just showed up because her friends told her that maybe she should just sit through it, and she could sit through it and tolerate it until it was over, and then she'd be happy to go back home and just let herself be miserable again. But what happened instead was that she heard something. And it was a trigger. It was the key that turned the lock. And she was no longer in bondage. It opened up the door to her freedom. So she was able to embrace her life. But the means by which she was able to do so was by creating the boundaries in her life. It was by creating the boundaries in her life that she was able to say no sometimes. She was able to say no to those people who wanted to be well-meaning, but nonetheless invasive on her time and her space. She needed to say no to some things that weren't absolutely necessary for the cultivation of her peace. She needed to say no to being actively involved in this thing or the other thing that had promise of something more. And she needed to say yes to the spirit that was within her. And the moment that she did so, the moment that she allowed the Spirit to be the guide of her life, the moment that she allowed Spirit to bring her into an understanding that her life is precious, and if she would just listen, if she would listen to the voice of God, if she would listen, that it would guide her into her greatest yet to be. And there was so much enthusiasm and so much positive energy oozing from this woman. Wayne had to ask her, how did you find this person inside of this person that was, as you described before I came to speak, and that person who is here today, who is so vibrant and alive and so on fire for life and embracing her joy so magnificently? And she was like, well, it's what you said. I mean, he can't access that. Most of the time, we don't remember what we say. If we look at the tape, we might remember what we say when we're speaking. But the thing is, she was like, there was something that you said about, what I just got through saying, about, creating those boundaries. And he needed to hear that in a moment. Sometimes our ministering becomes full circle. Sometimes we get it back when we need to get it. I found that in my writings when I've written in the Science of Mind magazine, and I opened it up to the day when I wrote something and it was just what I needed to hear that day. Don't get it twisted. This is all about me. And this is true for every minister that you know, every spiritual motivational speaker that you know. You just happen to maybe get the benefit of some of our own self-teaching. But it is the process by which it was able to enlighten Wayne in that moment when he was feeling lifeless, in that moment when he was feeling, I'm so burnt out, I'm so worn out. What is the point of this? And here he had in front of him the evidence of his work, and more importantly, the teacher that he needed in that moment. And so when we continue to cultivate our relationships from a spirit consciousness, knowing that spirit is all, knowing that every time, just as Bruce was singing, that every time you meet someone, you're meeting spirit. But still to know that that which is within you is greater than that which is in the world is key for us to understand that we have to carve out that space so that we can be with that divine love, so that we can be in that divine space of absolute wholeness, perfection, and completeness. Because when we do so, we're able to listen to what we need to hear in that moment and be led further in the journey of our joy. And so in this book, we began to see more conversations about children and not simply how to manage the children, but how to listen to the children. We mustn't be concerned when they go off in a direction that we weren't planning them to go into. We run off. Your mother wanted you to be a brain surgeon, but you decided to be, one of those cyclists that are doing daredevil tricks and probably more of a recipient of brain surgery than the surgeon itself. But that's because it was your spirit that was calling you forth to get caught up in that adventure, to be able to know and to be able to trust that fulfilling that soul's desire is enough. And so in this picture, You know, we see this child with the dog, and they had been playing together, and there were other pictures that I saw of them when the child was running off, the dog was following, but the dog gets it. You know, I get that you need to run. And she's like, I get that you need to run after me, you know. And it doesn't mean that one is lesser than another because they happen to be in different species. I'm sure all of you pet owners can appreciate that or want to be pet owners. But love is the absence of judgment. And we always want to start with self-love. So when we look in the mirror, if we don't see perception, then we need to not clean the mirror, but to clean our own vision. And the means by which we do that is to absolutely turn within. And I'm going to invite you to do that now. Let's turn within now. And let's just simply allow ourselves to breathe. Because remember, the breath is the delivery system. And as we settle into that breath, as we're carving out this moment to hear that still small voice, as we're carving out this moment to be in touch with our divine identity, I want you to think about a moment in your life where you made a choice that was a blessing to you or someone else in this world. I want you to think about the feeling that you had once you realized that in that moment, something magnificent was happening. It didn't have to be a big thing. It could have been something very small. Perhaps you helped someone across the street. Perhaps you gave someone a hand when they needed it. Perhaps you simply said yes to your own physical needs. Perhaps you said yes to your own spiritual needs. Perhaps in that moment, you simply allowed yourself to have your favorite food and you enjoyed the feeling of honoring that desire. But you felt good about being you. Feel it, breathe it, take another deep breath in very deeply. Hold that feeling, let it recalibrate all the cells of your being, and release it. As you allow yourselves to slowly and gently open up your eyes, I invite you now to look in that mirror and see if more of your perfection is shining through and less of the judgment, less of the blah, blah, blah. I don't want to go there now. I want you to stay in that awareness of the I am that you are. That capital I, that capital A, the I am is your essence, your beauty, your power. The I am frees you up to be exactly who you are because exactly who you are is perfect. Say that to your neighbor. Exactly who you are is perfect. I know this. Accept it. Accept it. It doesn't make you vain. It doesn't make you self-centered. It doesn't make you egoic. It just makes you a real girl or a real boy. You don't have to keep living that Pinocchio experience, thinking that if only I could. You already are it. You already have it. And it has you. So when you do those beautiful, loving things, when you express yourself in those giving and loving ways, you are simply revealing your real identity, your real truth. So like the woman who was there in the leg braces, And the other woman who had been feeling so sorry for herself and missing her husband and him not being there anymore and going to visit this woman to fill up her space or fill up her time or feel like she's connecting with another human being before she left, before she said goodbye for the night, she said, "Is there anything that I can do for you?" And there was such a hesitancy about the woman who was in a leg brace. And she almost started to cry because it was so difficult for her to ask for what she needed. She said, it takes me an hour to get out of my leg braces in order for me to go to bed. And if I'm too tired, I have to stop every 10 minutes and take a short nap. But I really can't sleep well while these leg braces are on. And it was something that she was able to do for this woman that took minutes. That would have taken this woman at least an hour, perhaps hours to do, and it didn't really call for much of her. We don't need to be afraid to offer ourselves to those who are in need, because perhaps it's too painful for them to ask. Perhaps it triggers something in them that thinks that they're not enough. But because you already know that they are enough, and because you already know that you are enough, you have the capacity to do that one little thing that'll make such a difference. A night's sleep can work wonders. It's miraculous in the way that it can renew and refresh and rejuvenate our lives. And so that's the invitation here for you, to rejuvenate your life by first knowing that you are enough. And by knowing that you are enough, know that you are ever supported by grace, that you are ever supported by this Mother, Father, God that is holding you up, that is lifting you. And God just simply loves you because you are exactly who you are. And it doesn't mean that you have to be anything different. It's that something is emerging within you that wants to be more, not because you're not enough. So embrace that enthusiasm, embrace that vim and vigor that is your very spirit seeking to express itself through you. You are the instrument, you are the reed through which this beautiful music is blowing through. So you needn't ask this question, what is enough, with any other answer but I am. Namaste. Well, we've already started a meditation a moment ago. We're going to move back into meditation for just another moment. And I'm just going to ask you to anchor this truth. I am enough. As Bruce sang about the all. The spirit of all that indwells us has never left us, will never leave us. Even if it leaves our body temple, we're going with it. And we can shuffle off a mortal coil that is no longer serving us, but in this now moment, we're embracing the vim and the vigor of life. I am enough. And because I know that I am enough, I know that everything around me is enough. I know that all of life is enough. So I needn't focus on what is missing, because I don't want to create more lack. I am looking at all that I have and all that I am, and I celebrate the abundant life that I live. I celebrate the prosperity of my relationships. I celebrate all needs met. I celebrate my genius in whatever way it expresses. And I celebrate all that contribute to this life energy that I carry. And I know that enough is here. God's grace isn't simply out there in the ethers. It's right here where I am. I am enough. I am enough. Hallelujah. And amen.
Thank you, Reverend Celeste. You gift us always with reminders of who and what we truly are. Thank you for revealing those truths to us again. You bless us. And now let us remain seated and sing the Lord's Prayer.
In this prayerful space, and from that place of knowing that each of us is indeed enough, we invite you to speak the names of those you'd like held in prayer. We give thanks for prayers that are already answered, knowing that as each of us has spoken a name, written a word, or simply felt a need in our heart, Spirit has acted, and that prayer is already answered. And we say thank you, God, and amen. We're your prayer chaplains for this morning's service. We have Tom Skinner, Diane Haglund, Gabby Rivero, and myself. I'm Brian. Gabby prays in Spanish if you need that. And we would be delighted to pray with anyone who has a prayer need or just wants to share some joy. We'll be in the Fillmore room on this side of the sanctuary. We look forward to seeing you. Thanks.
And now is our time of conscious giving. Here at Unity, we give out of a sense of joy and appreciation for this beloved community. We give in support of this powerful center and the many outreach activities so that together we can indeed be a blessing to the world. So please join me in our conscious giving affirmation. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive.
All right. I feel the Spirit moving in me. I feel the Spirit, it's moving in me. I feel the Spirit moving in me. I feel the Spirit moving in me. I feel the love moving in me. I feel the love it's moving in me. I feel the love moving in me. I feel the love moving in me. I feel the peace the peace moving in me. I feel the peace moving in me. I feel the Spirit moving in me. Come on, I feel the Spirit moving in me. You feel it? I feel the Spirit moving in me. I feel the Spirit moving in me. One more time. I feel the Spirit moving in me. I feel the Spirit, it's moving in me. I feel the Spirit moving in me. I feel the Spirit moving in me. All right.
Thank you, Gretchen. And now as our ushers join us, let us bless our tithes. We say thank you for these gifts of faith and love. We recognize these are signs of our prosperity. It is good. Need a action right here, right now. Amen. So blessings work however you say them. Well, this week's Community Wednesday will include the cooking of Chef Lair Conlon. He'll be serving his famous lasagna. If you've never indulged, make Wednesday a day of indulging. Try his lasagna, it's amazing. The Wednesday service, Getting to Know You guest, will be gallery artist Jerry Lang. The service is at 7:30 p.m. Jerry's works will be in the gallery through November, and you don't want to miss seeing his prayer and meditation bowls. Take a moment and check it out. Unity Chaplains offer Good Grief next Sunday at 1 p.m. This is a grief healing group that will meet on a monthly basis, and it's a new offering through our chaplains. In recognition of National Hunger and Homelessness Awareness Week, our friends at Goldie's Place have an exciting week planned. It includes a Goldie's open house on Thursday, November 20th from 1 to 3, and culminates on Friday, November 21st with a screening of the acclaimed documentary At Home. Doors open at 7 p.m. and the film starts at 7:30. Tickets are $20 and they're available online. That's week after next. Okay. Our Unity Youth are preparing for their annual Pay What You Can fundraiser. Bring on the stuff you want to release and to another so someone else can treasure it. Donations are accepted starting next Sunday. And experience the holidays with your Unity family. We'll be having a Thanksgiving Eve cafe on Wednesday, November 28th from 6 to 8 p.m. Unity will provide the turkey. You bring your favorite side dishes and desserts. We'll follow with a gratitude service with Reverend Heidi at 8 o'clock. And so that we can be sure that we have enough turkey, reservations are required. Got that? Reservations are required. So please see row in the gallery to make reservations, which are required. I knew you'd get it. So see your bulletins for our week's activities, including Spirit Works, the group of spiritually minded entrepreneurs. They meet on Wednesday. And our lineup of other holiday activities, including a silent day, Christmas lunch, and Unity variety show, and a volunteer party. And we do have a visitor from our pet ministry.
Hello. Up for adoption is this cute little dog. She's about 2 years old. I found her this week. She's looking for a home. If anyone is interested, she's available. She'll be taking all her shots and her spay will be taken care of. So she's here if you'd like to come and visit.
Does she have a name? Lulu. Thank you so much. So to those of you who are joining us for the first time, welcome. We've so enjoyed having you with us. We hope that you have had an enjoyable experience as well. In Unity, we often say there are no accidents, and we believe that your visit today was in fact divinely inspired, and you chose to say yes to join us. So thank you for being a part of the community today. We have a small gift as a reminder of your time here. So if this is your first time, please raise your hand so our ushers can find you. Get everybody? Raise your hands. Right here. Great. So along with the carnation that you're receiving, we also invite you to join us downstairs in the library, our welcome zone, our welcome center, where we have a CD that we'd love to share with you. So you can find the library on the ground floor toward the back. Look for the big welcome signs. And again, nice to see you here. We hope to see you again. And now it is my pleasure to welcome back Bruce Henry.
Yeah. We have some help here this morning. Sister Gretchen in our choir and Brother Deacon Peter over here, along with this fabulous band, of course. Gonna lay down my burdens down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. Gonna lay down my burdens down by the riverside. I ain't gonna study war, no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. 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 Oh, I'm gonna lay down my sword and shield
Down by the riverside, down by the riverside.
Come on, y'all.
Down by the riverside.
Oh, I'm gonna lay down my sword and shield
Down by the riverside.
Yes, study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. 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 Oh, I'm gonna lay down my burdens
Down by the riverside.
right now.
Down by the riverside.
Oh yes.
Down by the riverside.
Hey, I'm gonna lay down my burdens.
Down by the riverside.
Ain't gonna study war. Come on, just play a little bit, people. Study war no more. Yeah, I ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna
study war no more.
I ain't gonna
Study war no more.
I ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. Come on, y'all, say it. Down by the river, by the riverside. Sing along with us, y'all. Down by the river, by the riverside. I can't hear you. Come on, y'all.
Down by the river.
Oh, yes.
By the riverside.
By the riverside. Give me that soul clap, y'all.
Down by the river.
Yeah, yeah.
By the riverside.
Oh, I'm gonna lay down by the river. Gonna put it along the way. Gonna put my burdens down. Ain't gonna stress no more. Ain't gonna cry no more. Ain't gonna have no pain no more, no more, no more, no more, no more, no more right now. I'm talking about love. I'm talking about love. Hey, right now. Yeah, I'm gonna lay down my burdens down by the riverside. Oh yes, down by the riverside. Oh, down by the riverside. I'm gonna lay down my burdens down by the riverside. Study war no more. Oh, I'm gonna study war no more. Oh Lord, I'm gonna study war no more. Oh yeah, I'm gonna study war no. Study war no more.
Study war no more.
Study war no more.
Study war no more.
I ain't gonna worry about it.
I'm not worried.
I ain't gonna stress right now.
I have my faith.
I'm gonna live and let God.
Oh yeah.
Study war no more.
Brother Bruce. Woo! And Sister Gretchen. That was some fine music. Woo! Well, I'll tell you, if you haven't laid down your burden now, we've got one hell of a week ahead of us. Thank you, Bruce Henry. That was just stunning. Wow, what a gift. Thank you. And this trio rocks. Sarah, Bill, Peter, there you go. Thank you so much. Woo-wee. And now let's bring in the kids.
Make room for me. Make room.
No words. So let's stand and sing ourselves home.
light of God surrounds us. The love of God